right, the story today we're going to have is the chocolate rabbit. I bet if I could ask you guys to raise your hand if you like a chocolate rabbit, I bet everybody would raise their hand. That sounds good, doesn't it? So we're going to read a story about this little chocolate rabbit, and we'll see what happens to him. This is a very special story about Bertie Rabbit. He was a very special rabbit, and it is thanks to him that there are chocolate rabbits in the shops every Easter. Bertie had two sisters, Polly and Patty. Every day they complained loudly, "Must we go to school?" But Mother Rabbit wanted them to be very wise, and she made them go. She cooked their breakfast, cleaned their ears, and combed their silky fur and whiskers, and sent them off with their lunch boxes. Bertie's father was a fine artist. He earned enough to keep his family by painting Easter eggs. He used many colors and many patterns. He painted eggs blue or pink with blue stripes. He decorated them with tiny flowers and sometimes with shining stars or even with wavy colored lines. He was very clever. That means he was really smart. I bet all the Easter eggs looked a lot different than every other Easter egg. Every year, Father Rabbit set aside a little of his hard-earned money until he could announce proudly, "We're going to have our photograph taken." While Father Rabbit spent his days painting eggs, Mother Rabbit looked after the house and made sure Bertie and his sisters went out to collect fine, fresh eggs. The young rabbits enjoyed taking their baskets into the countryside, but Bertie often ran off to play with his friends, and he ate every carrot he could find. Best of all, Bertie liked to go off on his own way. He would wander and forget about his sisters and about collecting eggs. Sounds like he wasn't doing his job very well, doesn't it? Polly and Patty returned with their baskets full of eggs and the latest joke they had heard in the hen run, such as, "Cook, cook, there are spots on this chicken. That's all right, it's only chicken pox." That isn't very funny, is it? One day, Bertie Rabbit had collected some particularly fine eggs. "Hello," said the mice twins who were sitting sunning themselves. Bertie stopped to talk to them, leaving his egg basket balanced on a stone. Crash! The basket fell over, tumbling the eggs to the ground. "Oh dear," said Bertie, trying to scoop them up. "What shall I do?" wailed Bertie, running up to his sisters. "Cheer up, Bertie," said Polly. "You can have some of mine. Mom will never know." That night, Mother Rabbit was so pleased with her children that she decided to make a chocolate cake. After carrots, this was their favorite food. She set her alarm and settled down to go to sleep. Bring, bring, rang the alarm, and Mother Rabbit got up to prepare the chocolate. When it was ready, she put the saucepan on one side to cool and crept back into bed. "What a treat for my family," she thought, "and what a surprise." "Yummy, yummy," said little Bertie, who was awakened by the lovely smell of chocolate. He leaped out of bed and ran downstairs. I would enjoy being woken up to that smell too, I think. Bertie climbed on a stool just to look. He said, then he put one little paw into the saucepan, just to taste. Then the stool fell over. Goodness gracious! Bertie was covered all over in chocolate. His cries awakened the family, who came running to see what had happened. Oh wow, he looks a little different now, doesn't he? They stood around speechless until suddenly Father Rabbit shouted, "I've got an idea, and a marvelous idea. Why hasn't anyone ever thought of it before? Stay absolutely still, young Bertie, and don't move a whisker." Father Rabbit quickly got his tools and a piece of wood and started to carve. Soon he had shaped the wood so that it looked exactly like poor little Bertie, all covered in chocolate. Mother Rabbit prepared more delicious chocolate. Then she poured it into the rabbit-shaped mold Father had made from his little wooden rabbit. When the chocolate was setting, Mother Rabbit turned to Bertie. "Off you go and wash away every bit of chocolate. I want to see my own little rabbit again." At last the family settled down to breakfast, chattering excitedly. We've seen the first chocolate rabbit, chanted Polly and Patty. From that day on, many, many chocolate rabbits appeared in shop windows, and many, many of them were made by the rabbit family. At Easter time, chocolate rabbits even appeared sitting among Easter eggs on very special cakes. And who do you think delivered all those chocolate rabbits? Why, little Birdie, of course, with his own yellow cart, and he never dropped a single one. That's a good story. I enjoyed that today. But do you think that that was a real story or made up story? Was it fiction or was it nonfiction? I guess you'll talk to your parents about what you think. Now, if I hold up that book and then I hold up this book reminds me a little more of something that might be nonfiction, because in here I see real pictures of real rabbits. All right, this has been a great time. I'm glad I've got to share this story with you today. I hope that you have a good rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.